in the name of. Jesus said to his disciples, wherever you go, if people welcome you, then they are welcoming me too. And if they welcome me, they are also welcoming God. He continued, if someone welcomes a prophet and welcomes them because they are a prophet, then they will receive the same reward as a prophet. If someone welcomes a good person and welcomes them because they are good, then they will receive the same reward as a good person. If someone helps one of these little ones, if they give them only a cup of cold water because they are one of my followers, they will certainly be rewarded. The disciples didn't necessarily know exactly what Jesus was talking about. But in Luke 10, Jesus gave us a good description of what this looks like. The stranger who helped. One man asked Jesus, what must I do to please God? You're a religious sort of person, replied Jesus. What does the Bible say? The man answered, love God and love other people. Then do just that, said Jesus. But then the man asked, which people? Jesus told this story. There was once a man who was walking from Jerusalem to Jericho. Suddenly there was a shout. Before the man knew what was happening, robbers leapt out from behind the rocks. They stole everything he had and left him lying on the ground. The man lay in the road. His head was aching. What was he to do? Then he heard flip-flop, flip-flop. It was a priest walking to Jerusalem. Help, the man called out feebly. But the priest crossed to the other side of the road and walked on. The flip-flop of his sandals gradually disappeared. The injured man lay still again. Then he heard the clomp, 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 clomp of boots. It was someone else on the Jerusalem road. This time it was a helper from the temple. The man called out again, help, help. But the temple helper crossed over and started to walk faster, straight past the poor injured man. Now, the sun was sinking. The man lay still. Then he heard the clip-clop of a donkey. But the injured man saw it was a Samaritan, a foreigner from Samaria. The Samaritans were fierce enemies. But when the Samaritan reached the man, he shouted, "Woe!" to his donkey and walked over. "What's happened here?" he asked kindly. "Robbers beat me and took everything," said the man. The Samaritan poured oil on his wounds and bandaged them, and then he helped the injured man climb upon his donkey. By now it was getting dark. Moving slowly, at last they reached the house of the Samaritan. The Samaritan lifted down the injured man. "Do you have a room for this poor man?" he called. "Please look after him and make sure he has all the food and medicine he needs. I'll pay for everything." They put him to bed, and by morning he was feeling much better. Now asked Jesus, which of the three men, the priest or the temple helper or the Samaritan, acted like a good friend to the man who was robbed? The man who helped, Go and do the same then, said Jesus.